Hi, folks. It's a pleasure to meet you. We're going to get started right now. It's going to be a little bit more intimate this time with the number of us here. So I'm going to ask that you start out with putting your name, your organization, and potentially any updates that you might have, whether it's from your program or things that you've heard, any grant updates that you'd like to share in the chat. And what
So
I'll do is I'll
Mega,
call.
since we have an intimate group, why don't we go around and let everybody let's let them give it to us individually. Like, let's hear it.
Sure, let's do that. Let me call on you, Frank. Let's get started. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and something that you'd like to share.
All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Frank Stokes. I'm with the Bethel LA CDC, Best Mobile Accelerator, and we serve the small business micro enterprise community with training, technical assistance, and capital access.
Wonderful. How about you, Brian?
Hi, everyone. Sorry. Brian Pfeiffer with Small Business Majority. We're a national small business education advocacy organization with offices in many cities, including Los Angeles. I'm based here in LA as well. And one of the things we are working on, we're about to release more survey data of our network. We've been doing kind of monthly surveys throughout the crisis, and obviously things are still rather bleak for folks. I think close to 30% say they need additional funding in the next 3 months to be able to survive. Those numbers are higher for Black and Latino businesses. So that's where we're at.
Thank you so much, Bruce. How about you, Dave?
Hi, sorry, I accidentally closed the window out. Hi, everybody. My name is Dave. I am a business counselor over at SIPA, which is based in historic Filipino town in Los Angeles. Our organization's been around for 49 years, so I am just excited to be here to listen and learn.
Lovely. Looking forward to it. Jonathan?
Hi there, folks. Jonathan Yang from Public Counsel, specifically the Community Development Project. We are a legal aid organization based in Los Angeles, and we provide support to small businesses, to nonprofits, and also work with a range of community coalitions on a spectrum of issues: land use, housing affordability, but also, especially now, small business issues. And so, like Dave, looking forward to learning from what many of your organizations are seeing on the ground and seeing where there's an opportunity for further advocacy and legal support.
Thank you, Jonathan. For those of you who are just jumping in, we are doing just introductions where we say our name, our organization, where you're at, and potentially any updates that you'd like to share on behalf of your organization. Next up, I'm going to call Julia.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm happy to be here. I'm Julia Ornelas, and I work for California Reinvestment Coalition, and I am an economic health promoter. So pretty much what our organization do, we go out to communities and we provide financial empowerment workshops.
Lovely. How about you, Kathleen?
Good morning, everyone. Kathleen Minogue, founder and CEO of Crowdfund Better. We provide crowdfunding education and support to businesses and small business advisors nationally. Pretty excited about something that just happened. We've been doing an incubator program with a rewards platform called Fund Black Founders. And our first campaign went live and hit his 35K goal in 6 days, and is on his way to his 50K stretch goal. So that's a pretty good proof for, this program.
Thank you for sharing with us, Kathleen. That's a big win, and we're here to celebrate. That's awesome. How about you, Marja?
Hi, everybody. I'm Marcia. I am head of Found LA and Warwin Foundation. We are on the funding side of support for entrepreneurs. We actually just closed the third round of our grant program for small businesses. We will have another round of funding coming up in March that I would love for all of you to share with your networks. And just excited to be connected and chat with the group.
Thank you so much, Marsha. And just so you know, if you're going to put stuff in the chat with your name, the organization, and any links would be helpful. So that way people can tap and go to the page that you're referring to. So just a heads up,
Great.
Please take advantage of the chat and the networking event there. Up next, Mercedes.
Good morning. Mercedes, Tondra, I'm with OmniWorks here in Los Angeles. Some of you I know well and have worked with. I'm so glad that we get a chance to connect those of us who are working in this sector. And thank you all for the great work you're doing. OmniWorks focuses on women and minority entrepreneurs, LGBTQ, formerly incarcerated, and veterans. We work with entrepreneurs from the startup phase and are launching a new program in May, which is focused on women entrepreneurs of color. Which is exciting to be so focused on a community that really needs support right now. So happy to be here.
Thank you so much, Mercedes. Nargis.
Hi, Mega. Hi, everyone. I'm Nargis. I am with SCORE Los Angeles. I'm the district manager for the chapter. And at SCORE, we offer free business mentoring for all small business owners, whether you're an entrepreneur or just starting out. And we also offer monthly webinars and workshops that they can take. We are working with the public libraries and the Chamber of Commerce's to spread our awareness and our education and mentoring to underserved areas. And we are hopefully putting together an event for later in March for a women's owned business networking event.
I love it. Thank you so much, Nargis. Rocio?
Hi, everyone. Good morning. It's so great to see so many familiar faces. I'm Rocio Flores. I work with USC Civic Engagement Economic Partnerships. I'm also a steering committee member here with Entrepreneurship Advantage. We provide a lot of small business development programming and training, outreach initiatives. We do a lot of our work through partnerships to service the diverse small business owner as well as nonprofit leaders. So happy to be here, happy to connect. I put my email in the chat if anybody wants to connect. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We've got a couple more folks. Sabrina, you're up next.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sabrina Binford, and I work on the behalf of CRC as well on the California Reinvestment Coalition. And pretty much what we do is we pretty much hold banks accountable to provide funding for low-income communities of color. And we just provide free financial empowerment workshops, whether it be on banking or savings or loans. And we provide those services for communities throughout South LA. And CRC started in NorCal, but we're trying to make our name known down in the SoCal area. It started in the Northern California area in San Francisco.
Thank you so much. Up next, we have Sharon.
Sorry, my mouse just died. Hi, I'm Sharon. I am a business counselor with the Asian Pacific Islanders Small Business Program. We are a collaborative of a couple of different fantastic organizations that are based in the AAPI communities like SEPA. We offer technical assistance in English and also in language. Right now, we're really focused on helping folks get access to PPP, especially with the latest changes for sole proprietors. That's been exciting for a lot of our smaller micro entrepreneurs who were previously left out. So looking forward to get hearing more about those rules in the coming weeks, and super excited to put some faces to names that I've seen on webinars and newsletters. Very happy to be here. Thank you.
We're happy you're here too, Sharon. Last but not least, Todd, and then I'll ask for any other folks who I might have missed.
Hi, thanks, Mega. Good morning, everyone. It's great to see everyone's faces again. My name's Todd. I'm the program manager for the Founders Business Accelerator, which is out of the Los Angeles Clean Tech Incubator, LACI. We are a community impact accelerator program, helping to bring some of the techniques and methodologies that we use in the tech incubator to the micro enterprises and minority founders of the city of Los Angeles. So some news that I've got, we are just about to close out our round of applications for cohort 4, which begins in April. The deadline is on March 1st. So if any of you know of any businesses that are located in the city of Los Angeles, please refer them to our application, which is at laci.org/FBA, and I'll put that into the chat. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Did I miss anyone? Can some, if I did, oh, let's do Bruce. I saw your hand raise up.
Yeah, hi, good morning. This is Bruce Gumbiner. I'm the CRA officer and director of community development for Cathay Bank. And it's nice to be able to see some faces and people I work with on this organization. We reach out to, we are a national bank actually, working in 9 different states. In California, we're in several different assessment areas. A big part of my job here is to reach out and work with, community-based organizations trying to help small business communities, in particular in the API community, but through all communities under CRA, that need help, LMI communities. And particularly, we like working with small businesses and working with CDCs, CDFIs, and incubators. So I'm here to hear what you guys have and hopefully find ways that I can continue to help you and work in the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. Last but not least, Carolina is on the line. Would you like to do an introduction, Carolina?
Oh, thank you. Yes. Hi, everybody. Carolina Martinez. I'm the CEO of CAMEO. I think I have the pleasure to know pretty much everybody in the call, but there is a couple of new faces. So really excited to always get to know more people in LA. We're so happy to have this opportunity to connect even remotely. We definitely miss that in-person connection, but it's great to see that we don't quit, right? We keep getting together, and I feel like these meetings are just getting better and better, and we're taking more opportunity of our online tools to continue with our connections and getting to know new people and more tools to support our small businesses in LA County. So thank you so much for coming today. I did wanted to just acknowledge that probably this is the first time that Mega is leading this meeting. So I wanted her to have an opportunity to introduce herself to everybody. As you know, Mega, well, probably, Mega was with us leading this program too, and Heidi has been very active on that as well. And Mega kind of transitioned to another role within CAMEO, and we had the fortune to be able to bring Mega to help us with Entrepreneurship Advantage. We're thrilled to have you here, Mega, and I wanted just to acknowledge and introduce you to all the group and give you some time to introduce yourself.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Carolina. That's a great transition to get started. I'll introduce myself, and Heidi will also introduce herself along the way in this program. So thank you for all coming to the Entrepreneurship Advantage virtual meetup. This is my first one leading up, and I'm so excited because me living here in LA, I've called LA home, to be able to network and build those relationships with you all. We're also thrilled to share a new report that crossed our desk this particular month to talk about the ecosystem, what's going on in Los Angeles, what's going on with the small business owners in our county. And we'll get to the data and the stories to be able to support the incredible work that you're already doing. With what Carolina said, I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Mega Jewel. I am an outreach specialist and also with special projects here at CAMEO. my remit really here is to bridge the relationships between the resources, members at CAMEO, and to be a resource for you. So whatever questions that you might have, whatever suggestions that you might have, I'm here to support you and the members. So feel free to email me. My contact information will be on the chat later throughout this whole session. A little bit more about my background. I'm a former television news reporter, so I love storytelling, and knowing the power of stories and data is very much up my alley. And that's one of the things that I really thrive on. So some general information that I'm sure all of you know at this point. Whenever we start, have your microphone muted so we don't have interruptions. But when you want to talk, please raise your hand. I'll be able to see that in the participants list, and I'll be able to call on you. Know that we are recording the session. So after the event, I'll be able to give you the slides as well as the recording. With that, I want to introduce and bring up Heidi Pickman to talk about herself and her leadership here at CAMEO and EA.
I'm not really going to talk that much about myself. I know many of you, and it's great to see some new people and some new organizations joining us. I know some of you are from, like I know Dave from SIPA. I know SIPA, and I know you're part of Ram Fong's group, so that's great. And SCORE, it's great to see you here. We don't have a lot of connections with SCORE, so hopefully we can change that. So that's really great. As well as I'm really excited because this is part of our EA goal, was to also bring in some of the funders, that some of the funders are here. So really great to meet some of you new people and some of our partners. So thrilled to see people here. And Sabrina, I think you might be new to CRC, so welcome. We're happy to have you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And just so everybody knows, for those of you who are new to the CAMEO scene, I'll give the very short detail. CAMEO is a statewide network of entrepreneurial training programs and microlenders just like yourself. We're all the way from San Diego to Wairika. Microlenders are also part of our group, and also some of the chambers are starting to join. So that's pretty exciting. And we're the statewide EA, let's say, or EA's, the goal for EA, I think would be maybe to be the LA CAMEO, if I could sort of put it in those frames and how that might work. So if we can have the next slide, please. I just want to tell you a couple things that are going on with CAMEO, because they're pretty exciting. We have a microlending essentials course coming up. It's online. It trains both new staff or those new to microlending for lending staff, as well as business training providers who want a better idea on how to put together all those financial statements and read financial statements and read a credit memo and get their clients better prepared for a loan. So that's really exciting. Mega just put the link into chat. We also have for lenders, so if you know of any new micro lenders or lenders to be, we have a CDFI Essentials cohort. It's a year-long cohort that goes through your loan manual and best practices, and people have said rave things about the cohort. Besides teaching you what it takes to be a lender, it also gives people who are maybe working in silos trying to put their loan program together some camaraderie and much needed collegial exposure. So that's really great. And Susan Brown, our director of training, teaches both of those, and they're really great. And then I just want to make sure this isn't really CAMEO, but we're kind of involved. I think most of you are involved in this, is that the governor signed a $7.6 billion emergency corona relief package earlier this week. And it gives $2 billion to the grant program, the small business grant program that we all have probably been participating in. So that's really exciting. There's more relief for small businesses coming. So that's good news. And there's some other things in there, but you can read what else is in there in the link that Mega popped in. So with that, I don't We had a little technical difficulty. I think Emma was going to try. Did Emma make it on? Emma, I think you might be 610.
Hi, Heidi. Yes,
Oh,
this is she.
We had a little technical difficulty with the video connection. So Emma, last minute, dialed in. So I want to introduce Emma Kloppenberg. She's with LISC. She's on our steering committee. We have several other people on our steering committee. If you could just raise your hand, put a fun reaction into the into your, you know, like, oh, Rocia's surprised. And I think, do we have Frank on here? Frank?
I'm here.
Yeah, there you go. Frank's also on our steering committee. So with that, Emma, you want to tell us a little bit, just for those people who are new, about EA?
Yes, happy to. And sorry, everyone, I'm not able to be on video. Hey, as Heidi mentioned, having some technical difficulties. I also can't see the screen. So let me know when you guys are kind of progressing through the slides and I can shift. But thanks to everyone for joining. My name is Emma Kloppenberg. I'm a program officer with Local Initiative Support Corporation, or LISC, out of the Los Angeles office. And I am the vice chair of the Entrepreneurship Advantage Steering Committee. And I actually joined EA kind of on the ground floor about 2 or so years ago. And we started with always the same purpose and goal, and are proud to kind of continue that into 2021. So the Entrepreneurship Advantage purpose is to create economic opportunity for entrepreneurs and small businesses in LA County by connecting human, technical, and capital resources through regional collaboration. And it's really this last part, regional collaboration, that has always been our mission and goal, through virtual events like this one, and then obviously, hopefully, at some point doing in-person events to collaborate amongst the LA County community to uplift and support entrepreneurs and small businesses. So we're so grateful for you all for joining us today. And look forward for continued collaboration with everyone, and encourage everyone on the line that next time to bring a friend or a colleague to one of these events. We want to continue to grow this community so that we can have a robust amount of resources for small businesses and entrepreneurs in LA County. So I'm proceeding. I don't know if you guys have proceeded to the next slide of how to get involved, but that's where I am on my end. So again, I really want you all to get involved in Entrepreneurship Advantage, and you are more than welcome to do so by going on our website, and perhaps someone can put our website in the chat box if we have not already done so. And if you go to the website, you can submit your interest form as shown on the screen and complete your information. Feel free as well to share this website with, again, friends and colleagues, so that we can continue to grow this network and you can be in the loop as we have other opportunities to collaborate.
Perfect. Up next is our agenda, Emma.
Great, thank you. So you may have already done introductions. So if not, continue to put those in the chat box. Then we'll proceed to networking. And then last but not least, we are proud to present the report today. The report is the Initiative for Inclusive Small Business report, Small Business Ecosystem Assessment. This initiative was started by Next Street, Common Future, Lendistry, and Concerned Capital. And I, representing LISC LA, also sit on the advisory board of this Small Business Ecosystem Assessment Group. So we met at the end of last year to look at how Los Angeles community and the small business ecosystem was supporting or gaps in the support system for businesses owned by people of color, especially as they're navigating COVID response and recovery landscape. And now we are really shifting from research to implementation where we are implementing various initiatives to grow and support the small businesses across LA County. So I'm really excited for you all to learn about this assessment and see how you all can continue to be involved in that ecosystem building.
Great, thanks. Well, with that, let's get on with it. We took a little longer with introductions because we had a small group and we wanted to be able to make sure that, you know, you guys knew who was in the room. I always like to do that if we can, and sometimes we don't have the opportunity. So we are going to do a breakout room. We're going to do it for a little bit shorter than I would have liked, but that's totally fine. I think it's totally worth it to get you all talking together. I'm going to put it for 7 minutes. And what I want you guys to do is, you know, Mega said she loves stories. We need some stories. We need some of these good success stories that you guys have had with your clients for COVID relief and helping people turn around or helping people rescue people from the brink or whatever it is that you've been doing. So that is one option, or you could talk about a challenge. And you are going to see there we go. You're going to see a button that's going to say join, and you should just go ahead and click that join button. You probably all have done this by now. It's been almost a year of COVID and a year of Zoom. So everybody's probably experts. Mega will pop the two questions into chat. Oh, she already did. And like the port keys, right? In Harry Potter, you are now going to be transported somewhere else. There we go. We ended for everybody. Awesome. We don't have as much time as I would have liked for all the sharing to do, but who is burning to tell a story? And for the rest of you, what I'd like you to do is if you could jot 3 or 4 sentences down about your story and send those to either put them in chat, which would be great, or better yet, email them to Mega, and Mega will definitely put her email back into chat again, and she's done so a couple of times, and she'll send you an email and she'll remind you. So really would love these stories. Who's burning to tell a story? I'm going to volunteer someone if
I could share a story.
All right. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, so a few months ago, a organization reached out to us trying to bridge the gap to get hot meals to folks in need. And so to respond to that, along with trying to find a more long-term solution, we decided to partner with an organization called Filipinos Feed the Frontlines, which is based in Northern California. And the organization actually makes so much sense because the community is able to fund the program, and it also helps local businesses in need with giving them the donation, which also benefits the end person or like community that needs the food. So it's like a threefold donation process. And so it's actually been a really nice solution to try to get funding outside of the normal routes. And it's proved to be really, really useful. And so far, the campaign itself has already been able to provide over 20,000 meals. Through us starting with them, we've been able to provide at least 200 meals for just the first round of trying it out. So we just hope that this partnership that we solidified last week will continue to just trickle down the pipeline and grow, because
awesome.
Yeah, I just feel like we just need to have more creative solutions.
Yeah, triple, the people get fed, businesses sell meals, and it's a
People
win
feel
for
good about
everybody.
donating, right?
It's a
So,
it's a win
yeah.
for everybody. Great.
Exactly.
Another quick story, and then we're going to move on to the report because there's so much good information in that report. Quick. Okay. Well, let's move on to hopefully everybody had fun talking and meeting somebody else. It's always, I feel like that's always that's part of why we're doing this. So I'm going to kick it over to Mega, who's going to start sharing the screen. And this report crossed our desk and we're like, oh my God, this is like a great report, has such good information on it. And we're going to summarize it for you in the next 15 minutes or so. So you can kind of get the flavor of the data and of what it is. And, you know, it's entitled Los Angeles County Small Business Ecosystem Assessment, something that we all care about here at EA, and kind of to look at what we've got and what we need. So Emma, take it away. Mega, take it away.
Yeah, I hope you all met someone new or deepened a relationship with a networking event. This particular report is so special to us because it's in our home, home city in our county, and Emma had shared a bit more about her involvement, and there are many other folks, some of them in the EA group here, where we're really figuring out what's going on in the historic landscape of LA. What do we need to do to really support our community, have data to back that up? At the end, I will share with you the link for where you can download that report. So don't be afraid of that. So that'll come to you. Just a little bit of heads up. The folks who put this report together were local stakeholders throughout the ecosystem to really get a good grasp of what the approach is, what the finding is, and really being as inclusive as possible. We've got project leads from, Lendistry, the working groups, including Emma, even our EA from April was mentioned in the report, and of course the research team. So in the report, when you do read that and have time to, you'll dig in a little bit more about that. Our goal here in particular, just to clarify, this is not our report from CAMEO. This is the report that we found that crossed our desk, and we're like, we need to share this with you. And our goal is to really share the data from the report to support you in the team in grant making, using this data to build stories, building funding, fundraising opportunities, and many other opportunities that you'd like to create. And as I'm reading this, this report paints a picture that LA is this land of dreams, but it also adds that it's also collections of dreams deferred. And I'm sure, I don't know by raise of hands, how many of you serve communities of color. I'd love to know, just from a raise of hands, how many people do you serve, or whether you serve people of color. And it's important to really get that perspective in this particular report and stories to see what they're going through. The report does state that across the region and everywhere, really, that economic opportunity has not been shared equitably among the 10 plus million people who live in our county. And the biggest thing is socioeconomic disparities are seen by these racial and ethnic lines.
Yeah, and I just want to mention that we know that you guys know that. We've probably seen a lot of data, national data about that, but this data is actually diving micro and diving right into LA. So, and it does mirror, unfortunately, what we see at the national level.
Exactly. And we hear this often. There's even like a Jimmy Kimmel thing where it says that small businesses are the backbone of the country. And this data really shows it. I mean, take a look at the numbers where the local wins with more revenue staying within the community throughout employment of people who live in the community compared to the 43% of revenue that's generated by non-local businesses. So keep those data pieces in the back of your mind as you're telling these stories, potentially grant writing for things. And we do have a link that I'll share with you shortly from CAMEO on how to shop local. We have resources and materials to really read, whether it's for you, for the team, or for other constituents and clients that you might have. Now, moving on to the historical context of LA County. You might already know this, but we're home to 10 plus million residents. 75% of that are racial and ethnic minorities. Latino make up nearly half of that population. And LA County has seen a huge boom in particular population groups of Latino and Asian groups over the past, several years. What's interesting is, obviously, we know that LA is unique. We're really strong in film, in digital media, manufacturing, healthcare, like the whole gamut. We even have the Port of LA, the Port of Long Beach. But even with all of this, we are still facing a widening income inequality and uneven access to economic opportunity. And who is affected most? This report is saying communities of color, because the socioeconomic conditions in LA, it shows that there is a huge need for economic opportunity through business means like small business ownership. So take a look at like bullet point number 4. High wage earners grew between the years of 1990 to 2012. At the same time, low wage workers decrease their pay. So there's this huge gap that we're really dealing with. And on top of that, we've got housing and transportation landscape for people who might not necessarily have proper housing, or they don't have access to their own cars, etc. Up next, this is a snapshot of the small business landscape. Keep in mind that given the fluidity of COVID and what's going on, this is just a snapshot. The full impact of this crisis, according to our report, is really not known. So LA County has 250,000 small business employers, representing 93. That's most of the businesses in regions. And a couple of other mentions that they said is over 1.1 million non-employer sole proprietors. That is a huge number of people that we are really serving, and to make sure that we have the resources for them. They're making up most of the half of the local workforce and make up the largest small business economy in the US. In terms of this particular report, as you break it down, there are racial and ethnic groups on the rows, and the columns are number of small businesses, the average revenue per employer firm, and the average headcount per employer firm. So as you take a look, kind of analyze that data and really kind of see what that story tells you, the disparities and the opportunities that might be either missing or needs improvement.
Yeah, one of my takeaways was it's like, oh, white firms have double the revenue, but not double the amount of employees. So you might be able to assume, there's lots of other things behind that, but that white firms are offering better wages or more owner profits. So that's something to look out for, help our clients and other populations to do better. Think of ways to increase revenues and get more clients. We can talk about that more later if we have time.
Yeah, we're talking about the compounding of the inequalities. So let's talk about COVID. I mean, that's really the biggest pivotal issue that we're all dealing with right now. So between January of last year to June of 2020, LA County small business revenue decreased 18%. And within that same time frame, the number of small businesses opening decreased by 19%. So that is the current landscape that we're seeing, where many business owners continue to be forced to close temporarily or permanently. So the work that you're doing now is very, very critical. Now, up next, this is a graph that, again, it really is a good analysis of focusing on 3 main segments. Pretty easy to kind of take in, where you've got the industries hardest hit. Basically, how do I stay in business? Oh my gosh, this is survival mode. And then you got the middle where it says impacted but surviving. How can I pivot or evolve? And then we've got the insulated with potential. The question is, how can I maintain and grow? So it is broken down between what the description is, but also the key industries. For example, the hardest hit, food services and drink places. That makes sense with the closures and all the different laws or rules that's coming up and popping up and different updates. Performing arts and sports, personal and laundry stores, clothing and accessory stores, and one more thing is health and personal care stores. But interestingly enough, we've also got the impacted but surviving real estate, merchant wholesales, admin, motion picture and sound recording industries, probably with the consumption of content. Then the last column, we've got technical services, food and beverage stores, repair, maintenance, and the list is interesting as far as what the percentage of that make up the LA County small businesses. Up next is a continuation of that particular conversation. The report mentions that Black and Asian owned businesses operated most and more in the hardest hit industries, while Latino owners actually is more in the impacted but surviving industry. So people of color owned businesses have been, long been concentrated in industries such as leisure, hospitality, and retail due to lower education and capital barriers to entry, is what the report states. So you can definitely see the data, you can see the disparities, and you can further back up the story that we all have experienced. And now we have data to really properly back that up. Next, we're going to toss it over to Heidi, who's going to talk about capital support landscape.
And if I had my druthers, I would have written as first thing is the coaching stuff into the first thing before capital. To me, coaching comes before. It's the first step in the access to capital process. But it's not my report. So we're going to talk about capital first. It's no surprise. I think everybody on this call probably knows that since the Great Recession, the traditional bank lending to small businesses has been on the decline. It did start to pick up in 2012, but not enough to meet that demand. And we could see, if we go to the next slide, there's a gap between small business supply and demand of $60 billion. And this is in Los Angeles. This is not in California. It's not national. So this is in Los Angeles. So the supply, if you see on this first figure, you don't even need to see sort of what are on the bars and what the numbers are. The dark blue are for white people, the light blue is for Asians, the green is Black, and the gray is other. But you could see that in 2016, this is the demand for the demand for capital has decreased. But the demand in 2017 was $73 billion. And then the supply, the other graph shows it in terms of ethnicity, Latino and non-Latino. I know everybody it's a weird deconstruction of things. The supply was only $13 billion in 2017. So that leaves a $60 billion gap in funding. We're not even close to meeting demand. About $2.6 billion in SBA lending and CDFI lending by CDFIs and non-CDFIs. So, there's a lot of room for growth in the access to capital market. I know Kathleen's here to say, hey, go for crowdfunding, and there's other ways to, for capital, doesn't have to be debt capital. You could see, we had a decrease in demand. It's increasing. It's somewhat recovering in recent years. This is look at pre-COVID. We know right now people are more interested in grant funding. If we can go to the next slide. Want to talk a little bit about the demand and a breakdown of demand and supply by geographic location. You could see that in the first picture, there's a dearth in the South Central area of bank lending, but CDFI lending is higher in those neighborhoods. So it's a real opportunity for our sector to kind of chime in there and provide capital. But there's still obviously some significant unmet demands. Let's move on to some of the coaching organizations. So this is my first C, right? We have the 5 C's of an ecosystem: coaching, capital, connections to market. I'll mention that in a second. Culture, and climate. Culture is like a buy local campaign and how people feel about about entrepreneurship as a career path in your community, and climate is the policy stuff. So the study looked at mostly organizations within Los Angeles city limits, but they did look in 40 zip codes around the area, most of them concentrated in the city limits. 38% of the business service organizations were located in primarily white zip codes, 31% in multiracial zip codes. only 20% Latino zip codes. And we heard that, Latinos make up about 50% of the population. So there's a little bit of a discrepancy there, and 7% in Black zip codes. I'm not sure if we have the population, percentage population of Black residents in LA, but we can go look that up and see how that tosses up in comparison to the population, the business service organizations, like Frank. The good news, services are mostly inclusive of foreign-born owners, immigrants, with multilingual offerings. So that's good news. They are also, to expand access, there's a lot of community organizations. So I know a lot of you, Dave just mentioned his partnership with another organization across the county. So you can meet with, you can partner up with people. I know Mercedes has told me about a bunch of people she's partnering up with. We're also, just as a side note, we're also interested in learning about if you have partnerships with arts organizations. We might talk about that next month. So that could be exciting. The gap there is that there's few. The gap is connections, and the connections piece that I would say, and the networks. Strong networks for small business owners of color, and fostering more of those kind of networks, and where you might have business partnerships, you might get customers, things like that, and for those informal business mentorships that happen. So that would be something that people can look into. And as you can see here from this graph, on the third, you can see there's lots of business planning classes and marketing, but for the next tier of businesses, there's not a lot. There's some help, but there could, people doing contract assistance and product development and import export could be beefed up. And then I just want to mention on the financial services piece, there's lots of people who do understanding your financials, but not as many people helping people get their financial statements together. We know that's super important when it comes to accessing loans and accessing capital and growing, right? So that's key. When people have when business owners have those pieces in line, they're really they're able to grow and become more formalized and make better decisions about their business. I am, for sake of time, I'm gonna turn it back. Is everybody cool if we stay on just several more minutes, maybe another 5 minutes? We can try and take questions, but again, we didn't write the report, so I'm going to turn it back over to Megha, who's going to mention the takeaways and show you how to download the report.
Yeah, thank you, Heidi. As we conclude, this is the data where we know we deal with this every single day, that there's real access to capital. Industries are hit with COVID-19 and overrepresented by our minority groups. We have these data points for you to really take and process and use it in a way to benefit the programs, the grant making, the fundraising, whatever the case might be for you. So with that, I want to be able to give you an opportunity to download the report either in chat, or you can use your camera to take a scan of it. And this is done through Next Street's website. And I've taken it, I've read it a couple of times, and I'm just like, wow, I know it. I've heard stories from some of you who we've had these different types of conversations, but this is something where there's actual data to back it up. There are conversations from this coming up for local stakeholders. So that's definitely like the next step to really plan out what that looks like for strategic, what to do now, what to do next 6 months, etc. But if you have to go, this is something that I want to share with you before you head out. We have a LinkedIn group. If you haven't added yourself already, this is our LinkedIn group. We have lots of jobs that we're posting, events, and so forth. I know you have to head out, and I'll talk to you all soon. Our next event in March is going to be with CCI. That's going to be there on that particular link. And of course, if you'd like to share cultural, it's about Abdiel. I was talking to him, and it's really about the arts community, the disparities in arts community. How do we really support those folks who are within that industry? How do we do proper grant making that's equitable? So those are he's going to describe the landscape, what we can do in terms of the future, and the programs that he has available for a limited time. And then the other thing is, if you'd like to join, you can either verbally join or you can sign up here. And of course, you can always give me a ping on my email. Yeah, Anna Maria said CCI is an interesting artist to business ownership program. I very much appreciate Abdiel's perspective and what that contributes to our community. And with that, I want to conclude and say thank you. And if you want to take a screenshot of our lenders accepting PPP applications, that is what I'm going to leave you with before I say thank you. And of course, I'll send you the recording and the slides after when I have the recording all processed.
Oh, Otis, that would be great, Mercedes, if you can send that. Or we could look for it too. And just so everybody knows, if you don't know already, I'm sure most of you do know, the PPP is open to really, really small businesses under 20 right now for the next 2 weeks only. Like for the next 2 weeks, they're only open to those organizations. Bruce, your bank is taking new clients, yeah?
We will. One of the things they ask about with the PPP, though, it's sort of a roundabout way. They need to open an account because that's where they want to disperse the funds.
Sure.
So
I think that's fair.
You know, they will, when you send in the request, they will ask you for an account number.
Mm-hmm.
And so from there, we're taking it.
Good. Well, thanks, everybody. It's great to meet some new people. Great to see some old friends as usual. It's always good. Have a lovely Wednesday. Thanks for hanging.